My name is Putri Al-Masih.
My name is Tawaddud Fitria.
My name is Gusti Ramadhani.
My name is Azila Saskia Al-Abni.
My name is Febia Putri Irawan.
My name is Hafijah.
My name is Anida Rizqa Safitri.
My name is Bayani Fahmi.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our podcast group. It's Maureen here. Today we're diving into a topic that's been everywhere lately. Indonesia's race, and we can see it's serious, it's messy, and honestly we really need to talk about it.
Honestly, after going through the data, calling this just a waste emergency feels wild to mind. It really feels like we're past the warning phase and already stuck inside a full-blown disaster. When I read that 35% of our national waste is unmanaged, it hit me that this isn't just a statistic. It's a sign that the system simply isn't absorbing what we produce. That's why those 11 million tons don't go anywhere meaningful, they just spill out into the environment.
Yeah, imagine 11 million tons of trash just everywhere. Rivers, beaches. For example, at Seri Beach, suddenly 1,800 cubic meters of trash appeared. People just walked by and it kept piling up. Not pretty, right? And it's not just ugly, it's bad for environment, animals, and people living nearby.
That's crazy. That basically like almost 200 garbage trucks just piling up. And what makes it even worse is that all of that trash isn't even dumped where it's supposed to be.
When I read that part, I immediately thought, how is this even possible? Does it the government know what's going on? It feels surprising that a problem this visible could escape the attention of the authorities who supposed to oversee such issues.
The central government has actually closed 343 landfills since April 2025. But many local governments still are not ready. It really shows the gap between policy and what happens on the ground. Some areas are still struggling to adjust.
Some people even dump illegally. Then there are those who are monitored by CCTV because there is a lot of the indiscriminate dumping. These illegal dumping are close to residential areas. Imagine the smell and the potential for disease.
And the funny thing is, there are individuals and environmental agencies who are actually collecting waste management funds. Waste that should be disposed of legally is instead being dumped on private land.
Oh my god, that's like the worst plot twist ever. You wouldn't expect waste to peel up that fast, but here we are.
But wait, from a public health view, it's really dangerous. Unmanaged waste is like a magnet for bacteria and pests. So yeah, the community's health is at risk.
From a public health perspective, the situation gets even more alarming. Unmanaged waste rapidly becomes a breeding ground for disease. We're talking diarrhea, skin infection, leptospirosis, and the respiratory problems once burning starts. When waste piles up and gets carried, it doesn't stay harmless, it becomes a chain reaction of health risks affecting communities first. The danger isn't theoretical, it's direct, constant, and already felt by people living near these unmanaged sites.
I also remember a lecturer once saying that wet garbage attracts flies and rats. These are two major factors of disease, and if the waste has been peeling up for more than a week, it can become a breeding ground for bacteria and fungi.
Plus, the pollution from burning garbage, especially the release of toxic substances like dionis and foreign curtain, a long-term danger that people often overlook.
What's concerning about plastic waste like at Jimbaran Beach is the long-term impact.
Microplastic can accumulate in the food chain and ultimately endanger our own health.
Aside from the government, the community also plays a big role. Many people still refuse to sort their waste, even when the bins are already there. This makes the problem even harder to solve.
Some people still say, I pay taxes, like that means waste is only the government's job. But if we don't sort our trash at home, the whole system collapses before it even starts.
In past, the worst problem comes back to our behavior. We often blame the government, but we don't even start with simple things like sorting waste at home. If we don't with basic habits, how can we solve big problems? We have to start with ourselves first.
I agree, even simple composters are often neglected. If households were willing to separate organic and non-organic waste, the volume of waste going to landfills could be reduced.
Sometimes I think I like this. If we already feel stressed and overwhelmed by the PLS college assessment, when what would happen if Rubin in our city felt in a similar way, the situation could become much more chaotic and difficult to control.
Unlike digital documents that we can easily delete or correct, that waste we discard will remain and pollute the environment for a very long time.
Sometimes I can help but laugh at how relatable this mess is. If national problem had a simple marks as done button like on our laptops, we'd probably solve half of them in a day. But reality isn't that convenient. Trust doesn't disappear just because we're stressed. And the system definitely can be closed like a tap when things get overwhelming.
I know, right? Wouldn't it be amazing if we could just click a button and prove all the trust gone in Indonesia 2025? Like magic, 1 second it's everywhere, the next is disappear.
Alright, back to serious mode. So, what do you all think students can realistically do? Small actions matter too. We don't have to save the world in one day.
Education is still important, but it has to be delivered in a way that feels relatable to local culture. If the message feels too formal, people will not pay attention. Clear and simple communication works best.
Yes, for example, involve religious leaders or village leaders. Indonesians tend to trust those who speak as one of their own. So, education can be done through religious gatherings, neighborhood meetings, or community service activities.
On campus, we can start with small things like waste sorting, waste banks, or composting competition between faculties like at Universitas Gajah Mada.
We could also introduce a bring your own container initiative for buying snacks at the canteen. It might seem like a small step, but consistent habits like this can significantly reduce plastic waste and encourage more responsible behavior.
In my opinion, besides outreach, providing adequate infrastructure is most crucial. Separate bins must be available as strategic points with clear and consistent design.
Exactly, and the supporting infrastructure really needs improvement. It's not just about putting trash bins everywhere, they need to be clear, labeled, separated, and easy to use. If it's simple, more people will actually participate.
So, from everything we've discussed today, what's the most important insight for you? Like, what really sticks with you after hearing all this?
For me, the biggest takeaway is that waste isn't just an environmental issue. It's a public health crisis that hits people directly once the system fails. This problem stretches across infrastructure, policy, and behavior, which means it can be solved by blaming one side. We all have a role in shaping the future of our environment, and the consequence will fall on our generation if nothing changes. That's why fixing this isn't optional, it's urgent.
And the problem is complex. Infrastructure, policies, and community behavior, they are connected. Real change needs everyone, from government to residents.
Change can start from simple daily habits. Individual awareness, when combined, will build a greater collective consequence consequences regarding this waste issue.
As public health students, we should have higher awareness. We are expected to help lead small changes that make that can make a real difference. Even small habits can inspire others.
Because in the end, if we don't take the first step ourselves, then who else will? Real change often begins with small action from individuals who are willing to start.
That's right. We are the ones who will leave this environment for the next generation. So if we don't start caring now, who else will? The future also depends on our decision today.
And we will also feel the impact if there is no change, especially since we are the generation that will live for decades to come. This is a stark warning for us to start with small things.
Alright, thank you everyone. That was such a great discussion. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to our discussion and our opinion. We hope this waste problem can be resolved as soon as possible because it has an impact on the future of our earth, which is certainly for us and our future generation.
Bye
Bye bye everyone!
bye!